Alrighty, 3:30. Trade Ideas live Q&A, late day Q&A here. Go over some software, some charts, look around the market as always. Something to comment, hopefully some questions. Give everybody a couple minutes to pile in here. So again, if live Q&A here, it's open forum. If anybody has any questions or comments, please fire them away. Got my eye on the questions panel. Bloody day today. Not really. It's down. We're down 0.75%. So, you can't be up every day. And, on a relative scale of things, not exactly a whole lot going on there. Anyways, as I discussed the last few days, seeing us start to pull back towards that 20 SMA. I thought that'd be a healthy thing for us to do. Looks like we're on our way to it. All right, we'll see where it goes from there. RIVN. That was an IPO today, is that right? Yeah. Whatever that is. So, interesting stuff. Poor bag holders up here, I guess. We'll see how that all pans out for them in the end. I don't trade IPOs, and there's really nothing to comment on it. There's no data. There's nothing. Ford review. Ford as in the chart. It's for nearly 4 billion float stock. It's made a nice move up, that's for sure. Looks like they're going to be a major player in EVs moving forward. EV is the direction overall that things head as far as vehicles go for now. So owning some Ford might not be a bad idea if it works for your risk management, works for your portfolio. Interesting stuff there. I'm going to shrink this down so we can see this better here. I played with my resolution a little bit. I don't particularly care for how it looks on my screen, but I believe it's going to display better for you all to see. But I need to adjust the layout a little bit here too, so I can display everything that I'm looking at on the single stock window. There we go. And these are the things that I like to look at on that. So again, it's a live forum, open forum, so please fire away questions. I do always prefer it when you guys have the questions for me. Makes it a little nicer when you're tailoring the information to what you're looking for, what you're trying to do, what you're trying to find, what you're trying to get out of the software. So let's see here. My liked list, that's a bloody day. We're speaking of bloody days. That's a bloody day on my liked list. But I also have not probably updated this. When I say not updated, I've added stuff to it. I haven't taken anything off in probably 10 days. So there's probably a lot of things on here that's needed to come off for a little while. Oof, PLTR. That's rough. So I had earnings yesterday. I guess we didn't like those earnings yesterday. Had a rough day for PLT, rough couple of days for PLTR. I'll be honest, I got a little bit bullish on it back here. And I took a position here and ended up getting out at flat essentially after being up a little bit in it. Poor trade management on my part. But, I saw this here. I saw this little piece in here. And I thought we would have a clear shot up to here and maybe blast right through that. But, cult stock and Wall Street bets and all those things like that. And apparently enough bag holders still here just going to continue to distribute stock as that price moves up. So, not a great trade on my part. And then I saw it, start to do this again. These last month plus or whatever it is, last 2 months, whatever it is now. And once again, I thought to myself, all right, maybe this time it's going to make that charge through this line. And wrong. So, anyways, PLTR, we can just do this right here. And unlike that, because that'll be the end of me looking at that for a long time. Well, I won't say a long time. You never know. Thing could move right back up for us. So, but for now, till it meets one of my scans that I make or that I do in the evening to put it on my like list, that'll be the end of that. So, okay, so you're all small crowd and you're all awfully quiet at the moment. We're 24 minutes and change to the end of the market here. Usually, going around looking at the major indexes, I like to wait till around closing time, a couple minutes within, a couple minutes after. So we'll hold off on that for now. At what level on RSI does a stock become oversold? How would you filter for oversold stocks that aren't dead bios? Oversold for weeks. So, RSI oversold is under 30 and overbought is over 70, I think, is, what they technically are. Then you look on the time frames. We don't have RSI on large time frames. So RSI you're gonna have to work with. I think 5, 15, 60 and daily on RSI is what we have. Let's see if my memory serves me correct. Oh, so 1, 2, 5, 15, 16 daily. This decimal thing is just something that I had to do with an experiment. It's just a regular RSI daily, but just has decimal points that go really far out for something to make sure about a rounding issue. So you got to look on it like this. That's the best you can do. A daily RSI. Start your scan, add it to here. Put your maximum. You're looking. What'd you say? You're looking for oversold. So 30 and. If you're trying not to find bios, you could come into the symbols list and head down in here. Come to sectors. You can start to look in here in the sectors. Try to find what you want or don't want in here. So transportation, information, financial, real estate, healthcare, social services, maybe. Or you can start to put together a list of bios that you don't want to see and put them, so it's exclude the following lists. But that would be my suggestion to you there, Perfect Circle. Think about what other things you want the scan to look for besides just only being oversold with that RSI filter. Crazy reversal in some stocks like LCID. I was looking at LCID the other day. Might have been last week or the week before. I can't even remember anymore. It'd be helpful if I can type it right. Let's see here. Lucid. Well, there's lists, and you can choose to either only look at that list, Perfect Circle, or you can choose to exclude, and then you can create your own list too. You come to Tools, Symbols list, create a new list, all right, and then you can start to, throw symbols on there you just don't want to see, and you can exclude however many lists you want to exclude. LCID, what do they do? Oh, automobile. Interesting. Yeah, I was looking at this. I don't remember why I took it off my liked list here. I don't even remember what day I had it on there, to be honest. Maybe I had it here and I took it off here because I thought it got extended. I honestly can't remember. Earnings coming up in a couple days here. Aftermarket close. It's hard with some of these smaller automotive stocks that say they're EV stocks and they don't really do anything to do with anything. They don't sell anything. They just talk about selling stuff someday, maybe, kind of, while collecting money from investors. Are there any indicators that tell you when to enter or exit? No indicators that tell you when to enter or exit. I mean, you might come up with an indicator that is a good entry or exit point for you. But there's no master indicator or nothing within our software that says enter or exit. The closest thing you're going to have is, where we discuss on our homepage, entry and exit signals. Those are from Holly, who's extra quiet today for whatever reason. Entry price, and here's your exit price and exit time on Holly. As far as conservative goes, moderate's going to hold for another few more minutes. But that's that. There's no, this EMA says to get in, or that SMA says to get in, or this stochastic says to get in, or anything like that. You got to kind of find what works for you. Can you program based on a single bar? Well, we can't compare candles. So, like, for example, all of our filters look at averages. So let's look at volume, for example. All right, now all these volumes look at daily averages here. And then when you start to get into your volume percent today, your volume percent yesterday, well, not your volume percent yesterday, but your 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, 30, all these, they take a 10-day average and then say, what was the 1 minute average of volume percent over the last 10 days. And that's how that works in a percent. So, 100 being normal, 1,000 being 10 times. So, by adding that filter to that here, and you put, let's for say example, 1,000 here in the minimum column, that means you'd be looking at stocks that are doing 10 times their normal 1 minute volume percent wise over the last 10 days for 1 minute. But we can't compare back. We can't look back on a candle and say, what's this candle's volume compared to that candle's volume? We can't look back and say this candle's 1 minute RSI compared to this candle's 1 minute RSI. Yeah, I've never used their stuff, so I'm not really sure. I have no comments really on their software. I've never used it, so I found Trade Ideas years and years ago, and it's done me well. So it's kind of where I've stayed stuck with. I know some people use this and us and them. So that's that's the short and skinny of all that. How that goes. I guess my work on Holly is really easy today. Just this one alert. Kind of odd. Not really sure what to make of that today. Certainly makes it short work for me. But so yeah, our KRP today was a gap down and pull back long fade. I don't know if I've really seen that strategy before. She made her entry there. I guess she thought maybe this pullback was going to bounce based on intraday resistance, or excuse me, intraday support, which was not the case. And it just kind of continued to fade for the rest of the day. Right up here, making a move back, but I mean, just gap down and go would have been a much better looking alert that way. But that wasn't the way that the algo called it today, unfortunately. So it kind of is what it is. So just making sure I got the light bulb moment. All right, glad you found that helpful. Perfect circle. And that's that's exactly what I do here with these two scans. This one looks at only my liked symbols here. Where's it? Configure symbols list. My like symbols, and there's no filters in here whatsoever. There's no filters in this. All I do is sort on change from close percent. So I sort server side like that, and then if we right click, press the right things, we right click and we come to properties and select colors. I'm doing the same thing here, change from close percent. So it's color sorted that way too. And then the display sort is also the change from close. And that's all I'm looking at in the scan here. I've got my work cut out for me to go back through this and start to really drop some stuff there. In this scan, the same thing. It's just got a different list that it looks at, but the same idea here in the symbols list. A different Chris V liked list that I created. So it's a much shorter list. And, early on, I thought this list was going to look good today, and then it didn't. Kind of reversed. And, touch on, this ended up all right. Not so much, that fell apart. think this kind of just hung around up until, yeah, until it fell apart. I didn't realize it just rebounded so much though. So this might be interesting going forward here. This came on my evening scan from last night. They report in a few days. And you get this bottoming tail here, you get this bottoming tail here. You're trying to battle through this resistance level right there that we've created. We'll see what happens. I'm going to keep it on here. I'm going to keep a price alert on there. Feel if it can get through this, it might be able to start to battle its way towards 8. Not a bad risk reward. If it was to fall, I'm kind of looking at this level of falling here. Maybe catch that 50-day moving average that's trying to curl up. But that's an interesting reversal, I got to say right there. I didn't see that. AG, First Majestic Silver. I've been talking about that. The winds are changing on silver possibly. Tough to say. You get this big gap up here today, and then the whole market kind of gives it up today. Down the whole percent almost now. So we'll see what that means in the bigger picture of things. I talked about yesterday for SSRM that I was going to set a price alert to see if I could get a pullback here at this level. I set my price alert, but I didn't get that pullback, unfortunately, this morning to get an entry on it. Gapped up, and it won for a while today, actually. Not too shabby. It gave some up, but it's really held that gap. So, again, running into that there. It's not a great line that I just drew, but you get the picture. There we go. It's a little better looking. So we'll see if that can power through that the next few days, what the market's got in store. But I continue to look at silver a little differently than I did a few weeks ago. All right, so the majority of you that are in here, of the whole 8 that are in here, are pretty silent. Please, if you guys got something you want to go over, you want to see demonstrated, fire away the question. That's what I'm here for. Trying to really give subscribers their money's worth on all this, between the noon Q&A and this Q&A, trying to get you guys as much live education as we can. So let's see, we got inside 13 minutes here. I suppose we started to mess around with the scan last week with you guys, build something. This pullback 5-minute high here. Not sure how far we got into this. Yeah, you and me both, perfect circle. You and me both. If there was a filter for that, that's all I would do, is sell that. So what did we do here last week in the scan? All right, so we're looking at stocks that were up from the close the previous day. So that means they could have gapped down and reversed. They're at least $5, traded at least 125,000 shares on the day. They were off the high of the day. They were, maximum of 60% above the low of the range of today. We weren't letting the scan start going until 20 minutes after. And the point of the scan that we were looking at is kind of a pullback alert. So let's see here. Now, I don't feel like this is going to give us a good example, unfortunately, today. Let's take a look at yesterday. Let's see what yesterday looked like. Might be a little better to look at. I'm going to have to go way back on this thing. I'm going to have to hit more a few times, I think. So, it's still a scan that's, got a lot happening with it. And what I mean by that is, there's tons and tons of alerts coming through, and the alert window can only hold 1,000 items in it at once. So that's why I keep clicking this more, try to get us back earlier in the day. Click that a couple more times and see what happens. We made it up before 2 p.m. Guess I could have done time frame. I thought this was going to go a little quicker. And one more. I feel like that's more of the meat of the trading day we're trying to get into here. All right, there we go. So let's see some stuff that came through this yesterday and see if anything we want to adjust with it. So there's the alert here. As I talked about when we were trying to build this last week, we put in that high, we pulled back off that high, we get a new 5 minute high, and not too bad. Nothing crazy, but not terrible. But it's doing what we're looking for, and that's the idea when building the scan, and then trying to refine it from there. Not so much on that one. Where does it get those 1206? All right, so that got us here. Ended up moving up into the 1230s eventually, pulling back down here kind of far. So, yeah, was getting it a little bit extended off that moving average. This was coming through my evening scanner last night. I decided not to put it on any lists. But it might be setting up here, I mean, who knows if the market's getting ready to make another pullback here. But flagging sideways, real flag should be going kind of this way. But all the same, maybe that's setting up, who knows. It's however, an ugly green bar ignore on the daily chart that just formed there from us. So, all right, we're finding some stuff that we're looking for here. Not perfect. Interesting. This made a huge move today before pulling back. This caught that. Let's see, 83. So it caught that down here. Nice dollar plus move on that one. So definitely some things to work with in here. Shop. That's a pricey one. 1541. So I got that in here just about. Not too bad of a move. $20 move off of that. Percentage wise, still okay actually. So definitely some stuff to work with here, that's for sure. And if you ask, why am I looking at yesterday's data and not today's data? Today was not going to be, whoops, that's not what I want to show. Let's go to that there. Today was not going to be a day to find a pullback and move up, especially all through here, falling off there. So, I've talked about and I mentioned to a few different people recently in some email correspondence I had with them, and the importance of knowing what kind of day you're going into. A day where the market's gapping up big, might be a day to load some gap and go scans and gap and crap scans. All right. But a day where the market isn't looking like it's going to gap much one way or the other is a day where you might not want to have any of those, something more kind of a trending scan. Looking at things like that, a day where it looks like the market's gapping down, maybe a gap and go on the downside scan and a gap down and reverse type of scan. This way you're kind of playing both sides of what the market's going to be giving you that day, essentially. And then from there, kind of seeing what the scans are giving you and what direction we're really headed in for that day. Just some thoughts, a lot of people I think struggle. I know I did early on, having too many scans open at once. So having multiple layouts for different types of days or even different points in the day, some stuff that you might like or scan that you might like from, let's say, market open till 10:30, 10:45 in the morning. It looks great. And then all of a sudden after 10:45, it's not giving you much. You might want to get rid of that scan after that point. And then there's a different scan that seems to work better around lunchtime. And so you're bringing that scan on in its place, things like that to keep the data. I think it's better to have less data that's quality than lots of data that's quality. You get lots of data that's quality and you just don't know what direction to move in. Analysis paralysis, as they call it. So, all right, we're still kind of quiet on me over there in the questions panel. All right, well, we're finding some okay stuff in here, but it's a lot of alerts. Try to think of think of a way that we can narrow down some of these alerts. So let's get back into the configure of the scan. Back in the Windows specific filter. Let's hide these unused ones. Ban this out a little bit. And we're trying to find a 50-cent range at least here on the last 5 days. We said we're up from the close. What's something we can add? We're using, what are we using? A 5-minute high as the catalyst for that alert. So for now, we'll skip that alert. Although something we might want to consider. Welcome, Chris. Welcome. So playing around with some different alerts that I'm trying to build still. Some I've been looking at is this 5-minute consolidation breakout alert. I feel like there's something else I'd been looking at. Oh, channel breakout. Yeah, channel breakout confirmed. I was also looking at. So, um, I know a lot of people, myself included, I get tunnel vision sometimes when I'm building things. I used to always just go right to the new high alert. Now, in a lot of the scan building that I'm trying to do, I've been moving into some different alerts, trying them out. Some of these pullbacks here. I like to play things more from the long side, just the market we're generally in. It's not that you can't short and make money shorting and whatnot. I just not really my flavor of ice cream in the stock market. So it's kind of the way that I've gone. I play with standard deviation a little bit now too. So there's so much in here. If you haven't played with them, and I just like to build scans to build scans. It's for lack of a better way to equate things, almost like a video game, an adult video game. Do some back testing, some optimizing, and things like that. So, but anyways, we got the alert that we're going to use for now in this. Maybe we'll play around later and see what happens. When we put a different alert in. Like I said, looking at today's history isn't going to be great because the entire market faded today. But let's see what's a filter we could put into this. Today's range, 5-day range. We've already got a 5-day range in there, as a matter of fact, so we're good there. Maybe some kind of consecutive candle in there. Might be something to circle back on. Let's keep scrolling and think about it. If someone has an idea, they have a suggestion, fire them away. And of course, if someone has something else they wanted to see demonstrated or go over or do, fire that away too. Sorry, just a chat that's coming in here that I want to respond to and keep my eye on this questions panel. All right, let's see. Pivot lines, VWAP. Look at that change from close. I think I'm going to go with a consecutive candle filter. I've never used it much, so let's play around with that a little bit. So let's come back up. Consecutive candles. Let's go in a smaller time frame here for this. We're going to add that filter and let's find 3 consecutive 2-minute candles on here. Let's add that in. Let's press OK. All right, now let's go back and let's look at yesterday's history. Let's go with the time frame here. So now let's go with 9. Let's go with, let's say, 11:15 a.m. And the ending time, let's see, 9:30 a.m. start time. No, we said this doesn't start till 20 minutes after the market opens. So there we go. So we're going to populate that and see how much of this will populate in with the 11:15 end time and see what we get here. All right, so a lot less alerts just by putting that filter in there. That took us way down. So let's take a look at some of these things that came through yesterday then. All right, not too shabby off that alert there. 895. That made a great move right there. All right, VFF, Village Farms, 865. Very nice. Let's skip the IN, IO, and Q. 2163. Another really nice alert. All right, all things considered, what the market was yesterday, 2412. Not so much there, but they're not all going to be winners, obviously. Looking for quality idea generation, 1552. Nope, not much to be had off there. Not bad, 20 some odd cents, but not, not what we're really looking for here. 604. Top tick that. No, then top tick it. 25 cents, give or take. So a couple of good early ones. This one's not quite as nice. 3001. Not bad there. Did I do this right? Yes, okay. 3393. Towards the top of this here. Not a bad move off that. So, all right, so something a little more to work with, to mess around with. Check out a couple more of these that were coming in a little bit later here. 1126. Get the alert down here. Not too bad on some of these alerts here. So, all right, so we got a pullback 5-minute high. Let's go ahead and I'm going to rename this here since we've messed around with it for anybody that's here. So we're going to go with 2 min. Consecutive candles. Press OK. I'm going to right click, I'm going to save, and I'm going to share that with you all. If anybody likes to take it, once again, and make it theirs. And there you have it. So, again, if anybody has, a scan idea, this is why I'm here. We can go over, we can build things together just like we did there. I circled back from something we were doing last week. It's an idea that I've had for a while. But when I get some free time again, this is a scan idea that I've had for a long time, this kind of pullback scan in the day. I'd like to build something that, looks quality in a back test. Let's take a look even what it looks like in a back test now. So we said a 950 start for this. So let's get it a 950 start. We're going to let it run all day. Let's let it run for the whole day here, hold up till the end of the day. We're not going to give it any risk management. We're going to open it wide all the way to 65 days. So there's our summary. We're initiating trades between 9:50 and 4 p.m. 390 minutes on the exit. 65 days, no other conditions. We're going to press simulate buy and just take a look at what this would have done, just like this. And, a lot of people with back testing and optimizing, their end goal is automation, but, you can do a lot of optimizing and back testing just to find quality ideas. Now, obviously, that did not turn out how I thought it was going to. I thought that would have been a lot nicer. But we can come to the optimization tab. We can start to play around a little bit and see what wasn't so great about it. So price is a tough one when you have such a wide price range. Let's skip that. Time of day might be something worth looking at. Let's go with 5-minute intervals. And so we can see here as we get later in the day, that gets pretty ugly. Pretty ugly. Now, these are the areas where you can start to cut fat away from a scan. And of course, the ultimate rabbit hole here, diving down. You have to be on premium to optimize, yes. The standard gets 10 shots at it, and then that's the end. But you can, take every one of these filters that we have in here. So, for example, we use the consecutive candle filter, 2 minute, right? Let's find consecutive candle and see what role that is playing in here. Consecutive candles, 2 minutes. And so we can see the role that this is playing. Candles with these values here, not so hot, but that's also where the meat of the trades are. So it's hard to optimize based on that right there. So one of the things I like to do when I'm optimizing is I like to go different filters. At first, it's kind of just throwing stuff against the wall to see what sticks. You want to find filters where you can cut meat away without destroying all the alerts that are coming through. I'm ready, Perfect Circle. Lay it on me on that question. Worked in a restaurant. I worked in restaurants and bars for 27 years, so the odds of you shocking me with the question is going to be zero. Let's see, what else can we look at? I've been big into standard deviation as of late when I'm optimizing. Where is standard deviation? There we go. Let's take a look at what that might look like. So again, tough to optimize on standard deviation because at this level here, there's 60% of your trades are out here, 24% are out there. So you're left with 10% of your trades almost right there, just over 10% anyways. So, you know, this is what it takes though to go through back testing and optimizing here. Some internal messaging that's going on there. So, all right, that's the odds maker here as far as that goes. If someone has, specific questions, can you back test for a long hold, like 3 months? I think 14 days is the maximum. So we go time exit and we can go market open or market close. And sorry, yeah, you can go the whole way out. I don't know why I had 2 weeks stuck in my head. So yeah, you could go market open or market close, 65 days. So we can do that. Just broke the system, it looks like. Time exit it. There we go. Keep in mind the optimization process or the data history. It's not an exact day. We can hold up to, I believe, 65 days. However, the way market holidays fall on weekdays can affect that. So now over 65, you bought these stocks and held it for all that time. It looks good. In practice, what it would look like live, that's a whole other question. But also consider this: what has the market done the last 3 months? Let's zoom out. All right, so we're here, moving towards the middle of November, so middle of October, middle of September, middle of August. So, we're starting here and we're ending up here. So even with this dip, we're still well off these lows here from mid-August, give or take from there. So, keep that in mind when you're looking at something like that for the back test. But yeah, in the timed exit, you can go market open or market close plus all those days. We could start to add some risk management and things like that. Now, when we were looking at the scan, some of the different some of the different alerts that we were looking at coming in from yesterday, they were shorter holds. So now I wonder to myself, what happens if we move this to, let's say, a 45-minute hold? What that might look like now for us. All right, and we'll still leave it, no stop, no target or anything like that. We'll leave it opened all the way up. But now we're exiting after 45 minutes. And, we'll change one other thing. We saw that later in the day things weren't really working out. So let's cut us off at 3 o'clock just to kind of feel out things, and still not so hot. Interesting. Would have thought that would have been a little better. So, all right. That answers you there. So, Dan, Chris, missed a few sessions. Think you're going back to me on the back tester. We'll add existing positions on multi-day holds. Ever find that answers that question? No, actually, I didn't. Let me ask again. Poke who I asked before. Okay, poke them, Dan, and we'll see what happens here. See if someone knows brighter minds than me. I want to say yes to that question, though. I want to say yes to an answer to that question on the back tester. And where you could change that would be in Brokerage Plus. So if we came here and we would go strategies, and we right click, and we go to edit, on the entry time here, we can say send or don't send for existing symbols already, or symbols that we're already holding. This one is for send for a symbol once per day. So this would mean that, let's say we had a long-term position in Ford, for example, and the scan comes up with trading 200 shares of Ford for whatever reason. It'll then trade it or won't trade it based on these instructions. So that's why I'm led to believe that if we can do it within here, that it would just automatically do it within the back tester. But I'm going to find out. All right, so it wouldn't treat it as adding to a winning position if it was something that you were holding on to, Dan. What it would do is it treat each one as an individual trade, is how it would work out into the back testing statistics. Just wondering what kind of success rate using extremely large block buy and holding for months would have. Well, we could I mean, that makes sense. We could take we go new alert window. All right, let's bring this over here. Let's look at block trades. You can add that alert and give me a number, how many shares, minimum amount of shares, while I clean up the rest of this in the window specific filters here. Give me some ideas, and I'll back test it right here. But in the meantime, let's see, is there anything else you said 1 to 2 month hold? So we can do all those things. We just got to actually build the scan. So I don't know. Let's unless you start throwing out any other ideas, I'm going to throw in, let's say, 20K. for the block trade number. If you got something different you want to throw in there, let me know. I don't think we have to worry about volume today because if we're doing block trades, we're doing a lot of volume anyways. So I think that's kind of irrelevant. Price no less than $4. All right, that sounds good to me. We want to see it up or down from the previous day's close. We've got our block trade as the alert itself. Let's start piling through some filters here for some ideas. I don't know if you want a longer term average daily volume. We know that we're doing big volume now, but maybe you want to make sure we're doing big volume for a long period of time. Yeah, and I don't know if we have a way to like just look at bios like that. Let's see. Maybe find something that's got some range here. So, you could have some of these penny stocks that you look at that are pink sheets, trading 60,000 shares on a day and moving 1 cent. We won't run into that because we have a $4 list and we're not looking at pink sheets, but all the same, let's get a 10-day range. Let's throw that in there, add that filter. Let's give it $1 minimum. Maybe let's get some option volume in there. Contracts, call, put, options volume percent. Let's go with the options volume percent. Let's make sure. Let's say we're doing 2 times what we're normally doing on options volume percent wise. Where else are we looking at? Skip consecutive candles. I don't think any of that is best. All right, so I keep circling back for you there, Dan, on your question. It won't get back into that same symbol again for that day. But if that symbol alerts the next day, it'll treat it as a new trade. So yeah, just as I thought. All right, perfect. And that's the beauty of working with a team like this. Let's see what else. Something else. Change from previous day. Change on the year. Position in 60 minutes. Let's say a position in 3-month range. Let's add that filter. Let's make sure we're 65% above the low of 3 months. All right, so this is what we got. We're looking at block trades. There's got to be 20,000 shares in the block trade to alert. Minimum $4. $1 range in the last 10 days. Option volumes twice normal, and position 3-month range is 65% above the low of that. Called block trade test. And here it is. That was the last thing that came through. Open. Just reported earnings, so no surprise right there. Quite the move after hours. All right, so you're saying 100K on the block trade. We can adjust that around. No, Chris. Brokerage Plus works with Interactive Brokers and E-Trade, but you have to be on our latest build. So I'm guessing you're still in the 4-point-something builds, probably 4.2.218 or earlier than that. And we're in 5.5.32 is the latest production. I think 5.5.45 is the latest is the latest beta. So, all right, so we got these kind of coming through. Let's well, we'll back test it like this for either perfect circle, and then we'll move on to, or we'll change it up to 100K on that. So let's see, back test. We'll open it up from the beginning of the day. Um, Make it a half a day hold, give or take. No risk managements. Just open it all the way up. And let's simulate a buy and see what happens with this block trade alert. And that's very interesting. Very interesting. So it's going to have one daily spike that's going to be massive. Yep. So one of the things I discussed once in a while when we're doing back testing here is I talk about this here is much more important than the equity curve. All right, because we can see that equity curve makes a big move up, and it's all because of this one day here. So go back to the equity curve there, and you see that one day corresponds with just that move, and that's it. So interesting stuff, anyways. From that, you want to see more winning days than losing days, and it's kind of an even spread. The one thing I will note is there's no massive losing day on it, which is a nice spot to start with. You're not starting at a bad spot with a 1.26 profit factor and 49.8% on the winners. Let's mess around here and take a look at changing that. Select alerts to 100K. So, and just for fun, let's take a look. We're on the same back test, just with that one change. All right. So, anyways, that's what that looks like. Sorry, just some internal chatter going on here. And again, that one big spike. So, just some interesting stuff here. I mean, I'll go ahead and I'll share this out like this. You're welcome to do as you please, anybody that wants it. And so, yeah, Chris, you got a update here, but give me a second before you just go right ahead and update, because I'm going to go out of bounds a little bit on something I'm going to do/say. The 5.5s brought in our docking. Okay. There are some users, for whatever reason, loading charts on the docking is extra slow for them. It is our number one priority to figure out where the bottleneck is happening, why it's happening, how it's happening, and how to fix it. The issue we run into is that, one day someone says they're slow, the next day they say they're normal. So it's really, and it's not everybody. Out of thousands and thousands of users, some days it's a few hundred people say they're slow, and some days it's 1,000 people say they're slow, and then some days nobody says they're slow. So it's really hard to troubleshoot something that not everybody's experiencing. With that said, You can either go right ahead and update, Chris, to the 5.5. If you're going to update to 5.5, it's just go right to the beta, because that'll also give you the Market Explorer 2 and the scans that were created in there. If not, Chris, what you can do is send an email into here, info@trade-ideas.com, and say, can I get the last beta before the 5.5 update? And I'll send that to you. And it won't have the docking, it won't have the Market Explorer, but it will have an E-Trade link if you want an E-Trade link. Otherwise, you can stay on 4.2.182 for now. I don't think there's anything that's really going to hold you back on that build for now. At some point, you will have your hand forced to update, because we do things, we have to continuously update as things change, that are out of our control for changes, and won't function. The software just won't function the same anymore. So it's kind of, one of those things that it is what it is. So those are your options are right now. We don't really like to hand software out that we're not quote unquote supporting, but the issue is in all of our testing internally with the docking windows, we did for months. I was on the docking windows for months. Andy, Steve, Jamie, Sean, Mike, everybody. We didn't have any problems. None of us had any slowdowns. And the second we released it for public, all of a sudden that was when it came in. Can't tell people if they're seeing it slow, they're seeing it slow. We can't, I'm going to tell someone they're not seeing it slow. So like I said, literally every developer that we have is working on going through the code and why this is happening with the charts for some people. So that's my short and skinny on that. And those are the options that I can give you for that. And that email address that I shared there is for anybody, info@trade-ideas.com. Anytime after hours, you got, there's something bugging you, or you're wondering about this, or do we have this, or can we do that, or is there already a scan made for that, or a question of, how you can implement this, you get us at that email. One of us is there a lot of hours a day. There's always someone there, up until probably in between 9-10 o'clock at night. After that, most of us are going to bed, because, all of us are early birds as well for the stock market ourselves. So anyways, that's the short and skinny of that. Hopefully that helps you a little bit there, Chris. So, all right, wow, 4:30 already, building scans and whatnot. Back testing time kind of flew today, a little faster than I thought it was going to. So your thesis is block buys, big money buying, and riding stock until the day of data release or FDA vote. Yeah, there's a lot of speculating going on with that. So, not my cup of tea. I like to read the tea leaves of the charts, right, wrong, or indifferent. That's kind of how it rolls, how it goes. So, changing my name to blockchain block nerd. Yeah, you got a perfect circle. Happy, listen, that's what I'm here for. That's why I constantly say this is an open Q&A. The only reason I do market, analysis, go over the indexes, go over the sectors, is because when people don't ask questions, I'm not just going to sit here with dead air time. This wasn't a Trade Ideas plan to have this late day Q&A. This was all my own idea. I see the requests come in for, more and more, time for education, things like that. And the bottom line is we simply cannot give one-on-ones to everybody. It's not realistic for us. But right now there's 10 people in here, and there's no dumb questions. So if someone's holding back and they're not asking a question because they're going to feel dumb, I'm sorry, you're going to be held back in life on everything you do by taking that attitude about asking questions. One of the wisest things I've ever heard is the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So you can either, sit there and pout and be upset about something, or you can ask the question, and head in the direction that you're looking for with everything. Your computer's 6 years old. Mine's 4. I'm running streaming software. I've got Trader Workstation open. I've got our help chat software open. I've got another help chat software open. I have Excel open. I have Word open. I have, what else do I have? I have my drawing tool, and you can see the speed of things loading for me here on my charts, and this is okay for me. I don't have any issues with them loading like that. So I'll leave you with that. But send in the email, Chris, and the version that I can send you that's before the docking it'll have no effect on slowing you whatsoever. So send that email in. I'll look for the email and mark it attention to me, mark it attention for Chris V, and I'll send you a link to be able to download the last beta before the docking, while it still exists anyways, before they purge it from our system. So, all right, I guess that's gonna carry us here to the 4:30 mark. I appreciate everybody's questions, their comments. Like I said, this is a lot better when you're all engaging with me, when you're all creating the content, when you're asking the questions, whether it's something about changing something on a chart, building a scan, a question about a filter, a question about the Market Explorer, the single stock window, anything like that. Um, it makes it better when you guys are creating the content. Any word on when the update pushed out with earnings data on the charts? Nope, they never tell us things like that. They just tell us it's coming and then have us test it, and then they never tell us when anything else is going to happen. The dev team does very little talking to us. So we have our go between with them, what's going on. We have our weekly meetings, what's coming, how well it's working, and things like that. And of course, we're testing it. There were some issues with the earnings, and that they were blocking candles for Barry. So that was, that's been one of the hangups. They've changed some things now, and they moved it so that past earnings are now down here like this. So, for example, blue, if I scroll like so, you can see that the earnings were pre-market here on this day. So that was an adjustment they had to make. That was in the last test that was just pushed out today that I'm currently on right now. I have no issues to report back, so I guess that's good news that we're moving in a direction that'll hopefully be coming for you all in the not so distant future. There's also, we had an issue with the Market Explorer. I don't know if anybody remembers, but before with the Market Explorer, if you scroll down after a few seconds, it would pop right back up on you. That's been fixed in this build that's going to be coming out. So hopefully that stuff will be being pushed out to you very, very, very shortly here. So, all right, I'm going to cut it for the evening here. Again, we'll be back. Barry will be back 9 o'clock Eastern tomorrow morning. He'll carry it till noon on the YouTube side, do an hour Q&A then, and he'll shut down at 3, and I'll start back up again at 3:30 tomorrow. So, all right, everybody, have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday evening. Take care, be safe, enjoy yourself. Bye-bye.